saga of Adam Goode's career from its earliest beginnings is explored in the documentary The Australian Dream. Goodes, the son of an Indigenous mother and Irish father, was, in a way, detached from his Aboriginal heritage. But slurs at his background were cast anyway, all through school and life. Then he became a star AFL footballer, finding his home in the Sydney Swans, a team where he was accepted for his skills and himself. At a game against Collingwood in Melbourne, a young 13-year-old girl screamed at him that he was an ape. He reacted. She was escorted from the arena, and then all hell broke loose on social media. He was demonised, she was the victim. Eddie Maguire didn't help things on his radio program when he supposedly jokingly aligned Goodes with King Kong.
The backlash intensified.
Strangled.
He knew why it was happening.
We need to talk about this.
You get what you wish for.
Suddenly, he wasn't just Adam Goodes the footballer, he was Adam Goodes the angry Aborigine.
Stan Grant, who is of Aboriginal heritage, is a presence throughout the film, explaining what it means to be Indigenous in this country, helping us understand the impact of racial slurs on those targeted. Because this film is not just about Goodes, it's about the incipient racism in this country, and it's a cry for a re-evaluation about who we are. The impact on Goodes was profound, and despite him being named Australian of the Year, the burden of being a flag bearer for anti-racism in this country was actually too much for him to carry. This is an important documentary because it makes us face up to who we are and who we want to be as a country. It puts us in the shoes of the disenfranchised members of our society, the Indigenous population, who don't regard Australia Day as a celebration, but as a moment of tragedy for the longest living culture on earth, decimated by Britain's claim of terra nullius. Director Daniel Gordon has created an extraordinary document which forces us to walk in the shoes of Indigenous Australians to actually experience life from the other side, the maligned side of our society. I was actually really moved, and I was given great insight into our society from this film.
It really is quite a stunning film, and as you say, very, very moving, very touching on so many levels.
Yeah.
And Stan Grant is a very good presence. It's based on a book he wrote, originally an article that became a book of the same title, and it's a very thoughtful piece of work at every level. You forget just how vociferous and how hateful the booing was, and I hate to say, as a Carlton supporter, in the AFL it was started by Carlton supporters at a game, but it grew and grew, and it forced Adam Goodes to kind of become this terrible emblem, what Grant calls the angry Aborigine, who reminds everybody of the racist past of this country. And the booing is just astonishing, and it forces Goodes out of the game, possibly one of the greatest players ever to play the game, an extraordinary athlete. And you see some wonderful footage of him playing.
Yes, I know.
It's just fabulous footage. But he's just forced out of the game. It's just absolutely appalling what happened. And the right-wing commentary that's very well covered in this is pretty horrific as well.
Yeah.
On so many levels. They try and justify what happened in so many different ways with their various agendas.
I got a lot out of this. I really think it's important for a lot of Australians to watch it, to, have it reflected back on who we are.
There's some interesting commentary from others too. I like Gilbert McAdam, the former St Kilda player, an Aboriginal player, who speaks really colourfully and very humorously about many aspects of this case. And in fact, himself did a kind of haka Aboriginal corroboree gesture at the crowd as well, which picked up on something that Goodes had done, where he mimed throwing a spear into the crowd. I mean, they're fabulous
What about
sequences.
that guy, Kelvin Summerer? All these footballers, who early on lifted up his
Nicky
shirt
Winmar,
to say, look,
at
I'm
me,
black.
look at my skin.
Yeah.
There's now a statue of Nicky Winmar, I think, outside the MCG, doing exactly that, pulling the jumper up.
Oh, no,
he's a powerful presence as well.
It's a great gesture to say, this is who I am and I'm proud of it. I'm giving this 4.5 stars.
I'm giving it 4.5 as well.
He's a champion, and he always will be a champion, Goodsy.
My hope for him is that he can show others that there's a path from the worst of Australia to the best of Australia.